Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hey guys.
and the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dale?
And I'm your host, Scribe Light, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hope you all had a good week, and for those of us in America, a good short-ish week, if you had Monday off. How are you guys doing tonight? Satsu.
I'm good. I got a lot of stuff done, and I cleaned my house, so I'm happy.
Oh, you're a good house husband. And Monkey, how are you doing?
Well, I went on the Twitter machine this morning, and on top of being racist against white people, now apparently I'm bigoted against disabled people.
What?
So
bigoted against? Okay.
yeah. Hey, I didn't write it.
Okay. All right. You read it as it's written, huh?
Exactly.
All right.
So I logged off Twitter and played video games all day.
Yay.
So I'm better than most days.
And he ignored his best friend, Satsu.
I felt bad when I saw that. How you doing, Scribe?
Well, in addition to some other things I'll talk about in a moment, I don't know what I did this morning, but I was getting ready for work, and I had to go into my bedroom to get something, and I stepped, because I'm such an adult that I, of course, never leave clothes on the floor or anything. And I was stepping over some clothes I had on the floor, and I don't know what I did, but somehow I stepped wrong in such a way that now the upper part of my back is sore.
Oh,
I don't know what I did, but somehow it was immediate. Like I took this step, and suddenly I felt this shooting pain in the top, like on the back of my shoulders.
mm-hmm.
And it's been there all day. And it wasn't like I stomped down on the floor or did anything weird. I just, kind of had to stretch my leg over something on the floor to step over it, and whatever I did. And so that's been a little bit of an annoyance today. And as I mentioned in chat before the stream started, I will not, that is NOT, not be taking ad requests tonight. For several reasons, but mostly because the last 2 days at work, because of month-end stuff, have been decidedly draining in my energy department. And on top of that, some projects that are being worked on, I have to monitor for some indeterminate amount of time or times over the course of the weekend. I might be called upon to do things and stuff. And so all that being put together, I just rather relax this weekend as much as I can. And being me, if I take on ad requests, I will feel OCD compelled to just bore into them, and that'll just... Anyway, so short version is, guys, not tonight. I have a headache. But if I do again in the future, I will try to give as much notice as possible so I don't disappoint anyone. So apologies for that. And anybody else in the chat that heard that, if anybody comes in asking about ads and we don't see it, please let them know so there's no confusion or misunderstandings. Appreciate that. Otherwise, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones movies, hit that like button if you have not already, and at least 2/3 of you haven't, thereabouts, and share our stuff. Share it far and wide. Share it like... I always try to come up with a good analogy. I think we've used herpes.
Yes, we've used herpes.
Share it like you would a cookie in your kindergarten. No, wait, kids don't do that. I don't know. Thank you, Alice Morgan. A very merry unbirthday to you, Scribe. Thank you very much. Yes, sometime in the previous month, I did turn 39. So I am now one step closer towards the big 40. And I will say, in my own defense, I don't look it. If I shaved off my beard, my goatee and my mustache, I would be surprised. And I have been told this by people who have no reason to lie to me, that I probably would be mistaken for someone in their late 20s. So whatever that's worth, I'll take it. So I've aged well, I suppose.
Well, happy birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Whenever that was, yes.
And I sang last night, guys. If you missed it, it's near the end of the stream last night. So
yes. Let's see. And your boy Pat says, I'm there in 2 months as well, Scribe Light. Oh, Pat and I are contemporaries. I did not know that. Jaster Muriel, Scribe Light, you're getting old, man. Well, I'm every minute I am, and so are you. Terry Diamontis, you don't look your age, be a compliment or an insult depending on how they mean it. Yes, that is true. Or a defense in court, depending on how you mean it. You guys
you look 15.
Yeah,
what?
It's like she didn't look her age. So you guys got 7 days to die or Dying Light tonight?
7 days tonight.
Yes.
And what is your show name again?
Chimp Change.
Chimp Change. I don't know.
I don't remember my name in real life.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think it should be. I think it should be something that's related in some way to Lords of the Night, like give yourself some kind of royalty titles or something. But that's just me. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just
Ships of the Change.
Ships of the Change. Okay. Anything else to cover before we get into the schnuzz?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okie doke. Well, in a minor surprise, I suppose, today, as the title of the stream is meant to allude to, the summit is back on.
I'm shocked.
Trump says Singapore summit with Kim is back on. A week after abruptly scrapping his prized summit with Kim Jong-un, President Donald Trump buoyantly announced on Friday the historic talks were back on for June 12th in Singapore. His reversal came after receiving a letter from Kim, hand-delivered to the White House by the dictator's top envoy. Now, there's a sentence I never thought I'd read. Trump initially told reporters the missive was, quote, very interesting, which is about as diplomatic as it gets. But he later acknowledged that he hadn't read it yet. Well, maybe he meant it's very interesting to receive a hand-delivered message from a dictator.
Yeah.
Anyway, the contents of the note from Pyongyang appeared to matter little to Trump, who sounded an optimistic and conciliatory note, about the prospects for a deal. He said harsh statements from the North lampooning Vice President Mike Pence and threatening nuclear war were a thing of the past. I'll believe it when I see it. Quote, I think we're over that, totally over that, and now we're going to deal and we're going to really start a process, Trump said on the South Lawn after meeting with the North Korean envoy, Kim Yong Chol, Kim Yong Chol, for more than an hour in the Oval Office. Quote, we're meeting with the chairman on June 12th, and I think it's probably going to be ultimately a successful process, Trump said. The announcement capped an electric day of diplomacy at the White House, which included the highest level meeting between a U.S. president and a North Korean official since 2000.
Damn.
So there's a bit more to the story, but then they just kind of go into a recitation of past events. So, if it works, it works. Trump diplomacy, the Trump doctrine of saying fuck you and then expecting them to come back begging, I guess works.
I'd just like to say, called it. No way this was not going to happen. It had to.
Yeah, I don't think, as we've suspected, or I should say, we've suspected for a while that North Korea and Kim Jong-un have a lot to lose because of China more than anything else.
Yeah.
And now, I'm gonna speculate some four-dimensional chess here, and this might be something we've already talked about because right now I have a memory like monkey, but. You think Trump is holding the tariffs over China's head as leverage to get them to push North Korea to the talks?
I don't know. I think this has more to do with the what we've talked about before with the business. What was the business that he pushed for him?
Oh, the XTC or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but I think there was a deal in there. I think tariffs might be part of it. It's definitely economic between us and China, and I think China's putting pressure on Kim because it was amazing how fast Kim backed down. That is unusual for the Kim regime.
Yeah,
where it's like, no, man, I didn't mean it. Let's talk. And yeah, that's unusual for them. So I don't know why it happened, but I'm glad it did.
Will McGrath says ZTE. I know it was a 3-letter something or other. XTC is a poppy band from the 80s and 90s. So. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. There's still 11 days to have something go horribly wrong. And then, of course, at the very event, something could go horribly wrong. So I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Surfing Moose. This might be for deep topics or just too heavy to discuss. Do you see a relationship between today's SJW and Mao's Youth Red Guard during the Cultural Revolution? Mainly how they shamed their opponents by various means.
Maybe. I'm not familiar enough with the Red Guard.
Yeah, if I was more of a history nut. Satsu, do you know much about Mao and the Red Guard?
No idea, dude.
Yeah, I think you happen to put a question before 3 guys that aren't historically educated in that regard. I know.
I am curious, though.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'll make a note. I will do some research on my own, and maybe we can bring this up in a oncoming.
Should we take a peek at it at deep topic time?
Well, if one of you want to look up Red Guard, like a summary kind of thing, and we can sort of like read it out and think about it, sure. Just pull up like a Wikipedia thing on it or something. We'll go over the basics. Okay, Monkey's on it. All right. Our senior research correspondent, Monkey, will be looking it up.
This is great. I looked up Youth Red Guard, and it came up with guards for kids playing sports. Shin guards and shit.
I thought you were going to get some fucking Bethesda type shit.
Red Guard.
Anyway, I'm reading. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the Red Guard, Skyrim. Yeah, exactly. Did we talk about this last night? I don't know. Maybe I read something earlier today. Either way, apparently, ABC is considering a version of Roseanne without Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, we were saying that.
It's going to be called Dan.
Aha!
No. I'm just making that up. I might be making that up. I don't know.
Doesn't she own the rights to the show?
Well, that's the thing. Let's find out. Roseanne was canceled just a few days ago. ABC is already talking about a way to bring a version of the show back without its namesake, Roseanne Barr. The talks with production company Carsey Werner, which owns the show, are preliminary, according to 2 sources with knowledge of the matter. But the idea is definitely enticing to ABC. A reboot could help keep many of the Roseanne cast and crew members employed. Well, that would be good. I don't know about the success of the show sans its namesake star, but that's just me. Many critics have bemoaned the fact that more than 200 people lost work when the sitcom was canceled on Tuesday due to Barr's racist and bizarre tweeting. TMZ first reported on Friday that, quote, the powers that be at ABC are exploring the possibility of rebranding the show and focusing on the character Darlene instead of Roseanne. The daughter?
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, she's... Never mind.
Okay. If you know the show better than I do, I know some of the characters vaguely. I don't know how prominent or otherwise they are. The sources confirmed this to CNN, but cautioned that any deal is complicated by Barr's relationship to the show and Carsey Werner. Depending on the terms of Barr's contract, the production company may have to buy out her stake in the show. Exactly. Quote, Barr has a significant financial interest in the series, and there is concern that a new iteration that would benefit her financially would be a non-starter for everyone involved. One of the sources said ABC executives would regroup next week to talk about the options. Yeah, because if she got some kind of giant payout for being a racist, it's like, well, we're going to pay you off, you person who we fired because you're racist. Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is that I haven't seen the new series, but the Darlene character and especially the person who plays Darlene are a bit more liberal, which is not what's driving their success right now. So
was this the brunette with the curly hair? Okay,
she's on The View, right? Well, not The View. Is it The View?
I think she was on. I think it was The View for a while. Yeah.
What I remember now, I only remember her character from the old show. I always found her really obnoxious. Like her voice and the character was always just kind of like, dour, deadpan, and just I didn't find it that funny. It's not any comment on the person as a person. I just like is that really a compelling character standalone?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, I to the question of the Red Guard, I would say yes. Basically, they were Chinese SJWs.
We'll talk about that at deep topic time. Genevieve says it was the talk, not the view. The talk.
Oh, the talk. Okay.
Whatever. It was bitches talking.
Let's see. So there was that. I've only got a couple others. Aside from the Kim Jong-un thing, not a whole lot happened today. I got a couple of things that I found interesting in sort of like economic news. Now, I'm not an economist, as you might understand, but let me get to my Twitter because apparently I don't have the link anymore on my browser for some reason. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. So I found this really interesting. Black unemployment rate hits a record low. The black unemployment rate fell to 5.9% in May, the lowest since the government started keeping track in 1972. It's a notoriously volatile number, but the trend is clear. This economy is strong, and everyone is reaping the rewards. Quote, the jobs market is firing on all pistons. It is benefiting all workers, said Tony Bedekian, head of global markets at Citizens Bank. There are more jobs to be had for all Americans. As the overall unemployment rate continues to fall, the lowest since 2000, it's also shrinking the gap between black and white unemployment. It is the narrowest on record. Black unemployment dropped sharply last month, down from 6.6% in April. The gap between black and white unemployment shrank to 2.4 percentage points, the first time on record it's been less than 3 points. The figures were part of a jobs report Friday that showed overall unemployment is at 3.8%. That was a clear sign that the economy is strong and that there are opportunities for just about everyone. Let's see, scrolling down a bit because they talk. It's still harder for young black Americans and black men specifically to find work. Wait a sec, there's a part that they've taken out of this. Oh, no, there it is. They moved it. Okay, that's weird. Okay, let me read this. This is the part that I thought they took out. Jobs data for black Americans also tends to be statistically more volatile than for white Americans because of a smaller population size. Still, the unemployment trends for black Americans are undeniably improving. And the unemployment rate for black men over the age of 20 is 6.3%, compared with just 4.7% for black adult women and 3.2% for white men over the age of 20. So black unemployment is going in the right direction, but there's a long way to go before the job market is equally good for black and white. It never will be.
Now, usually, when this happens, or if any time it dipped a little lower than anybody expected, especially during Obama's administration, they're like, see, this is what having a black president means. But now we're under Trump's administration, and there's no way they'll be like, yeah.
Well, what I find interesting, or maybe not surprising, I suppose, is that Trump's name isn't anywhere in this article.
Oh, of course not, because it's about something that's good.
It's something good.
Yeah, they'll never put his name anywhere near anything that's good, even though this is, his administration and the economy has been slowly getting better since he's been there and all that shit. There's no way.
Oh, Tails in the chat.
Fucking moo.
Goat thrapple.
With the black unemployment rate, a large reason that it's never going to even out is because most of the black population is centered in urban areas. And those are always going to be more volatile for unemployment than like spread out wide across the country.
Just for anybody. You want to talk about volatile employment, you just go to any big city and it's like everybody's a dime a dozen there practically.
Yeah. So that it's as low as it is pretty fucking impressive, actually. What I want to know, and I haven't seen it yet, is if they've gone back to the pre-Obama way of calculating employment.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think they mentioned anything about that in the article.
Well, yeah, I remember during Obama, and there's some truth to it, that the way that they were counting unemployment was changed, and it made it look better than it really was. Underemployment was, I forget exactly what it was, but I haven't seen if they've changed it back yet.
Let's see. I got two more.
It's not. That's not what. Sorry, it was that it's the people who dropped out of the labor force. I haven't seen if that's been talked about.
Oh, right. Right. Dropped out versus like unemployed.
Yes.
So like if a lady gets pregnant and just drops out to raise their kid, they would count that as how did that work? They wouldn't count. She doesn't count. Right. She doesn't count. Right. Yeah.
If you've given up looking for a job, it doesn't count.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Virginia School District seeks to appeal court ruling that Title IX covers transgender discrimination. This goes back to Gavin Grimm. If you remember Gavin Grimm. A Virginia school district announced Friday that it will seek to appeal a decision from last month that went in favor of Gavin Grimm, who challenged the district's bathroom policy as it applies to transgender students. Grimm's lawyers at the American Civil Liberties Union argued that Title IX, a federal law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in federally funded education programs, includes discrimination on gender identity. Last month, a district court sided with Grimm and denied a motion to dismiss the case filed by the Gloucester, I don't know how to say that, Gloucester County School Board. Grimm, a transgender male who has since graduated from Gloucester High School, began his legal fight 4 years ago after the school blocked him from using the boys' bathroom. In court papers Friday, lawyers for the school district argue that the, quote, better interpretation, unquote, of the law is reflected in the district's policy that, quote, when separating boys and girls on the basis of sex in restrooms and similar facilities, schools may rely on the physiological differences between males and females rather than students' gender identity, unquote. They also said the case could be considered moot because Grimm has graduated. The filing brings the issue closer to the Supreme Court, as other courts have interpreted Title IX to include discrimination on gender identity.
Does it matter what others have interpreted it to?
Apparently not. Oh, Prospero says Gloucester. Okay, this is me not being an East Coaster, so.
Look, you're talking about schools here. You're talking about somebody who did not look. How do I want to put it? They were about as trans as I am at the time that they pushed this through. I use the bathroom you look like. That's my opinion.
I don't care, and the solution to this is stalls. If you close the door, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
you know, except you.
Yeah, the person in the stall.
In the stall, yeah. I couldn't care less about the whole thing. Just whatever, you know. And if you're worried about your child going into a bathroom with somebody, then go in there with your kid. Because if we neutralize, and I mean neutralize all the bathrooms, the dad can go into the bathroom with their daughter. You know, whatever. I don't care.
It comes to like public restrooms all over the place. That's different. I don't give a fuck at all. When you're talking about schools, though, I mean, you do have the problem that the schools are responsible for the children. And what happens, and yes, guys, I know this is a what if in a world with school shooters, I want to remind you.
Yeah.
When some boy decides he's a girl just so he can go into the ladies' bathroom. I would have done that shit just to fuck with them.
Well, I mean, that same argument could be made for a girl that's a lesbian and going to the girls' bathroom.
You can say that, but boys and girls are different.
They are? Monkey.
I know.
How very bigoted of you.
I know. Oh, God damn it. Now I hate men, too.
Let's see. And lastly, an update on one of the most important stories of this year. The 30-year-old son has finally moved out of his parents' house.
About damn time.
A 30-year-old man, and that's being generous with the term, in New York State said that he moved out of his parents' home Friday, 10 days after a judge ordered him to pack his bags. In a brief phone interview with CNN, Michael Rotondo said he left the house because, quote, I had to be out by today, unquote. He declined to answer further questions. Rotondo was shown moving plastic garbage bags into a vehicle in video published by CNN affiliate WSTM. He told the Syracuse TV station he was moving into an Airbnb and had, quote, more or less, unquote, said goodbye to his mother and father. Then he climbed into a station wagon, honked, and drove away.
Nice.
This type of family drama usually doesn't make the news, but Rotondo's parents took the unusual step of filing a lawsuit against their son to get him out of their house, where he'd been living for 8 years, and it worked. And then they go over the history of the case, and yep, still a loser.
Still a loser.
Still a loser.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
But yes.
So he's going to go live in an Airbnb,
which is basically like a temporary rental.
Yeah,
it's a halfway house. It's a halfway house. There you go.
I did whatever. Hey, at least he's not in his parents' house anymore.
Yeah. So I hope they, after 8 years of having to deal with a grown child in their house that they didn't want there, they can relax.
Do you think we'll hear about him again when he won't leave the Airbnb?
No, probably.
I'm sure that in a month or two, someone will do a follow-up to see where he's at, and they'll find him probably sharing an apartment with somebody while he's like working down at Burger King. No offense to Burger King, but still. That's all the stories that I had pulled up. I know that a lot of other things happened today. I'm sure MSS News will cover that. But did you guys know of anything else that was outstanding, so to speak?
Literally spent all day playing video games.
Satsu?
The video, I was curious if anybody put the video that I talked about in MSS News, so I was going to listen for it. And if not, then we were going to talk about it.
Okay, well, then I guess we'll find out. Guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, or at least take a look at, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews. Cannot promise we'll get to them all, but we will look at as many as we have time and energy for. And why not? I'll just start with this one. I was just kind of scrolling through, and for some reason this caught my eye. This comes from Raijin. How does it go, Satsu? You know this better than I do. Raijin. Raijin? Okay. Raijin 2448. It's a Teen Vogue article.
Hey.
It's from 2017. But I'll see the headline at least.
Not so, yeah.
How to keep your vagina healthy all summer. And the underheadline to this, on Teen Vogue, keep your vag healthy even at the beach.
What?
I'll just read the first paragraph of this, which is a large paragraph. What's not to love about summer? Your schoolwork takes a hiatus, the sun comes out and stays out until the night. That's how the sun works. Yes. Congratulations, Teen Vogue. Wow. I'm learning so much. It's not even school time anymore.
Oh, my God.
That was amazing. And there are countless pool parties, beach vacations, and excuses to spend as much time outdoors as you can. Though the hottest and happiest season of the year offers a lot of much-needed vitamin D and Instagram-worthy shots, it's important not to be so footloose and fancy-free that you forget to take care of an essential part of your body, your vagina. While you might think there's little difference in the TLC she gets during the other seasons, OBGYNs note that in the summer, it's especially important to pay attention to any symptoms, changes, and funkiness you notice south of the border. The unique elements of summer, water, sunshine, sand, and sweat, can be tricky to navigate. Okay, That's enough. I just like the part it's like, the sun's up until it's nighttime. You're right.
Good job.
I love that.
Somebody got a gold star for that one.
Man, Teen Vogue. Okay.
I'm curious about the whole smell part of that.
The funkiness.
The funkiness.
How curious are you about the funkiness?
Why? I'm sorry.
You got to keep that muff funk in check. You know what I'm saying?
Did this actually? I didn't hear about this. Okay, this comes from senior staff reporter Jack, the motherfucking cockring. Police reportedly called to Stan Lee's home after dispute with gunman.
Wow.
Okay. And are you going to give me the story, USA Today? No? You just give me a headline and a photo, but you give no text to the story. I guess that must have just happened and there's no other detail. Wait a second. This doesn't make any sense. Now, seriously, USA Today, I go to a page where it shows a picture and a headline, but has absolutely no text of a story underneath it.
Yeah.
Let me go to
New Age journalism.
Let me go to another site.
Write an article.
Oh, it's a video. I have to watch a video? Okay, I can't watch a video at the same time. So I don't know what's going on, guys. Apparently they don't want to print the story on two different websites I've gone to. So if anybody can find a link to a text version of that story, please put it on MSS News, and I'll try to get to it in a bit. What was this one? Okay, this one comes from George Mason. Supersonic Tic Tac UFO stalked U.S. aircraft carrier for days, Pentagon report reveals. Okay. A supersonic UFO shaped like a Tic Tac stalked a U.S. aircraft carrier for days before vanishing into thin air, according to a bombshell Pentagon report. And this is coming from FoxNews.com, so, take it what you will. The object, which could reportedly hover in midair and make itself invisible, bamboozled U.S. Navy fighter pilots during a training exercise in the Pacific Ocean. The leaked report, obtained by Las Vegas's KLAS TV station, tells how the USS Princeton, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, had multiple radar contacts with what it dubbed an anomalous aerial vehicle, or AAV. In November 2004, okay, that was a while back, the ship's ultra-advanced AN Spy-1 multifunctional phased array radar caught the object hovering at 60,000 feet before nosediving to the ocean's surface in a matter of seconds. It then sped off so rapidly that crew members thought it was a ballistic missile. It appeared again 2 days later, and a pair of high-tech F-18 jets were scrambled to intercept it, but pilots reported that the object had turned itself invisible. It could still be detected as it was triggering a circular disturbance in the water about 50 to 100 meters in diameter. The craft was described as, quote, solid white, smooth, with no edges, uniformly colored with no nacelles, pylons, or wings, and looked like, quote, an elongated egg or tic-tac, according to one of the pilots. Days later, a second jet spotted the same disturbance, and this time saw the UFO hovering above it, quote, like a Harrier jet.
I feel like somebody's been doing some smoking.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of people saying they saw it, and
Korea's like, we said no nuclear missiles.
Time travelers, I'm telling you, it's us from the future coming back to observe shit. What else do we have today? We got two different stories of people being caught having sex in public.
Yay! Who?
And they both come from Colleen Bernier. So why not? We'll do a duo here. This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. All the fun of the fair. Bizarre moment when Randy couple are caught romping on a Ferris wheel.
All right.
This comes from the UK's The Sun, so that's why they said Randy couple.
Randy.
The Randy pair were filmed romping in a cabin high in the sky on a London Eye-style attraction in Russia's Yaroslav Oblast region. Oblast? I can't read that. This is the bizarre moment when a Randy couple are filmed apparently having sex while riding a giant Ferris wheel hundreds of feet above the ground. The raunchy pair were filmed romping in a cabin high in the sky on the London Eye-style attraction. The video shows the woman sat on top of the man while 213 feet above the ground in the city of Yaroslavl in western Russia's Yaroslavl Oblast region. They were filmed by shocked passengers in the next cabin who can be heard laughing in disbelief. Footage of the unnamed couple was then posted online, sparking a police investigation. The operators of the newly opened wheel said they could not be held responsible for the behavior of passengers. Well, there you go.
So people were fucking in public and other people filmed it and put it online.
Yes, because that's what
Does that count as revenge porn?
Maybe, but does Russia care?
Probably not.
And then in another instance of same, also from The Sun and also from Colleen Bernier, shocking moment, again, when couple caught having sex on a balcony of a luxury Monaco hotel in front of shocked onlookers.
Shocked.
This is the shocking moment. A couple had sex on the balcony of a luxury Monaco hotel. The amorous pair. Oh, they're not Randy or raunchy. They're amorous. Okay. Excuse me. The amorous pair left crowds open-mouthed with their romp, allegedly filmed at the 5-star Hermitage Hotel in Monte Carlo. In a bizarre video widely circulated on social media, the naked couple appeared to hasten their speed to the sound of the blaring dance music playing at a party in the courtyard below. Fellow guests at the 1700... Wait a second. Okay. They put the pound sign, so maybe I'm misinterpreting this. 17,00. What does that mean in British pounds? $17? 17,00. So it's
I feel like they're missing a zero.
Yeah, they're missing a zero, or they misplaced the comma. Either way, a night hotel, whatever that price is, a night hotel, overlooking the Formula One track, are bemused by their antics, with one reveler shouting, "Oh my God, go slowly, my friend." At this point, the woman looks down from the balcony and giggles as the crowd whip out their phones to film them. After 40 seconds, the pair finished their performance and headed back inside.
40 seconds?
Well, he had her bent over the railing at one point, and she was looking down as he was behind her. That's... Jesus Christ. All right, whatever works for you. Colleen Bernier says 1,700 pounds per night. That's what I assumed, but they had the comma in the wrong place. So I was kind of like, is it a $17,000 a night hotel? That'd be crazy. Or a pound. 17 pounds.
Pound.
Yep, pound. Okay. And this one also comes from Colleen Bernier. This
Maybe we love you.
Bye, Lady Monkey. Congressional candidate in Virginia admits that he's a pedophile.
What? Bastard.
Nathan Larson, a 37-year-old accountant from Charlottesville, Virginia, is running for Congress as an independent candidate in his native state. He is also a pedophile, as he admitted to HuffPost on Thursday, who has bragged in website posts about raping his late ex-wife. So he's also a necrophiliac too? That was a bad joke. In a phone call, Larson confirmed that he created the now-defunct websites, I don't know how to pronounce that, suiped.org, Sweeped, and Inselacopix. I don't know. Anyway, today, chat rooms that served as gathering places for pedophiles and violence-minded misogynists like himself.
Wow.
What? Okay,
Wow.
HuffPost contacted Larson after confirming that his campaign website shared an IP address with these forums, among others. His sites were terminated by their domain host on Tuesday. On the phone, he was open about his pedophilia and seemingly unfazed about his long odds of attaining government office. Well, he already doesn't sound in his right mind. So, quote, a lot of people are tired of political correctness and being constrained by it, he said.
No.
People prefer when there's an outsider who doesn't have anything to lose and is willing to say what's on a lot of people's minds.
No. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, disappear into the dustbin of history, as it were. Goodbye.
Yeah, that may have been true for Trump, but Trump ain't fucking.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking weirdo.
Okay, this one comes from Jim Heelis. Oh, a business in Portland. Okay. Portland Bakery fires. Yeah. Sorry?
That's what I did my video on.
Oh, this is what you did your video on. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should I not?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Portland Bakery fires employees for denying Black woman service after closing.
Mm-hmm.
After closing. What? Okay. 2 employees of a bakery in Northeast Portland were fired earlier this month for denying a Black woman service because the business had closed. Okay.
There's more to the story.
Okay. The Back to Eden Bakery released several public apologies and statements following the incident before letting the employees go. In one Facebook post, the bakery's co-owner wrote, quote, "We are doing business in a gentrified neighborhood in a racist city within a racist state of a racist country," unquote. Okay. In one statement, Back to Eden Bakery says that according to its own surveillance video, a Black woman named Lillian, who is well known in the area as a, quote, professional equity activist, entered at 9:06 p.m. after the bakery's closing time. Employees had also turned off the open sign, but several customers, all white, who had already ordered were still inside. 2 other white women who went to the bakery 2 minutes before Lillian and were also informed that the business was closed for the night. Okay. The bakery says Lillian left the store briefly and began recording video. The bakery's statement says that even though it does not consider the employees to be racist, even though they live in a racist neighborhood, in a racist state, in a racist country, of course, that's my commentary, not the articles, and that they were following the business's protocol of closing at 9 p.m., they were fired because, quote, sometimes impact outweighs intent, unquote.
Oh, fuck you.
What the... The bakery also says in the statement that the way the employees went about denying the woman service, quote, lacked sensitivity and understanding of the racial implications at work, unquote. In the statement, Back to Eden says the employees were fired because the woman and the, quote, clamoring public, unquote, demanded they be fired. In one statement, the bakery admitted that the employees did not necessarily do anything wrong. Quote, this is more about how a Black woman was made to feel, unquote, at the business.
I would sue the fuck out of them.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. And that statement has since been deleted.
Oh, of course it has.
That is insane.
Yeah, I did a story about this, and I had neglected to mention or forgot to mention that because what happened, the order of events is they closed at 9, and they were still taking orders at the time. At about 9:04, I think it was like 9:03 or something like that, they had let 2 more people in, and they told them, technically we're closed now, but you guys are going to be our last customers, and they turned the open sign off.
Right.
Now, she walked past, and she saw that the open sign was off, but she saw people in there, so she said, oh, well, I'm just going to help myself, because apparently there's people in there, so I should be able to get served too. So she went in, and they said, look, I'm sorry, we can't, we're not taking any more customers. These 2 ladies are going to be the last ones. And immediately she was like, oh, is it because I'm Black, basically? And she No, that's not the reason. We just because there was a dude there before he gave his testimony, and he said they had immediately stated right after they took those last 2 customers in that they won't be taking any more in, which is why they went over and turned the open sign off.
Right.
But despite the fact that she saw the open sign off, she went in there anyway because she figured, I'm black, these people are white. Here's a good opportunity to make a scene if they tell me I can't get anything. And that's exactly what happened. And she got 2 women fired. So 2 women are now unemployed because she came into a place after they were closed with the closed sign open, and she wanted to make a scene about race. Yeah, that's how that went.
I wish I was black.
I mean, just imagine
like dance, but I could get paid, y'all.
Yeah, just imagine the power that you wield now. And I was thinking, like, one of the scenarios that I brought up is like, what if 5 more black people decided to come in? What if she took out her cell phone and just called everybody she knew who was black and was like, hey, they not gonna close as long as we in here, so let's just keep ordering.
Well, the part of it that makes me go, she's a well-known equity activist.
Yeah.
So that's some shit.
So I'm just wondering, because I don't know, they don't give her full name or anything. What other kind of activism has she been involved in previously prior to this one? Does she have a pattern of making scenes like this?
Ain't no telling. Well, first of all, when she was doing her video, one of the things she said is she's very selective where she spends her money in gentrified neighborhoods.
Right.
Because, she knows the history over there.
So she went to a racist bakery.
Well, no, she said she went to the bakery. So the reason she walked in is because the bakery is a vegan bakery, and they have a whole bunch of like flags and shit in their window for like LGBT inclusivity and all this stuff. And she thought that she was like, oh, this looks like a very inclusive place that will cater to my every whim. So even though they were closed, she walked in, and that shit happened.
Jenna says, "Someone please explain what that is." That's the what is she again? A well-known
equity activist.
Equity activist. That's somebody who fights for equality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Wrongful termination lawsuit incoming for sure.
I would sue the fuck out of them.
Get
that statement, because even if it's a right to work state. Mm-hmm. In a right to work state, you can fire people for any reason. The trick is you don't tell them why.
Right.
It's just, we're letting you go. Once you give them a reason, you can still get in trouble for wrongful termination.
Yeah, and they literally said out of their mouths, you didn't do anything wrong. You were following protocol, but this person feels like you did, so you're fired.
Right. Yeah, so I hope there's an update to that at some point. And for the last story before we get into YouTube time, thank you, Boatman99, Terry Diamantis, and Colin Bernier for sending me an actual text story of the Stan Lee situation. Exclusive. Police swarm Stan Lee's Hollywood Hills home after 911 call reporting 2 suspected gunmen confronted the Marvel creator demanding money owed to them by Lee.
Oh.
Holy shit. Police detained 2 suspected... What?
Was one of them his lawyer?
I don't know. Good question. Police detained 2 suspected gunmen outside Stan Lee's home after reports an armed man was making threats towards the Marvel creator. Several police units and a police helicopter rushed to Lee's $5 million Hollywood Hills, California property after a 911 call was made at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday night. It's understood officers arrived minutes later, guns drawn, before detaining 2 men. Lee, 95, he's an old man, was at home at the time, and the Daily Mail understands one of the men had confronted the star demanding money. An LAPD spokesperson said, quote, officers were called to a property on the 9100 block of Oriole Way at 7:30 p.m. after reports of an assault. It was claimed that a suspect had a gun and was threatening. Officers detained 2 individuals that matched the description, and an investigation is ongoing. 3 units are still on scene, including officers and detectives. According to police, one or both of the men had been at the property the previous day on Wednesday. The Mail has learned that the men claimed Lee owed them money and arrived at the property to demand he pay them back. A source who witnessed the incident said things went bad following an angry confrontation between Lee and one of the men. Quote, there was two guys standing outside demanding money. They were shouting, the source said. There was a confrontation with Stan in front of his house, but Stan doesn't know either of them. One guy was saying, I want my money. But when everyone realized the men had guns, everyone retreated inside. Stan's lawyer, business partner, and a nurse were with him at the house. At some point, yeah.
Is this the same people who've been fucking him over, or has he got new representation?
I have no idea. They don't give names. At some point, the men took out their guns and were pointing them around, so the police were called. The source, who asked not to be named, said up to 20 cops arrived and the police helicopters whirred above. Quote, it was crazy. The cops had their guns drawn and there were spotlights from 2 police helicopters. It was very scary and pretty intense. Let's see. The witnesses claimed that the men, one white, one black, had tossed their guns before police arrived, but it's claimed the officers later retrieved the weapons. It's not clear whether any arrests have been made following the incident. I would hope some were.
No shit.
And its cause is still being investigated. The drama is the latest to involve Lee following a string of incidents and claims this year. So between having his blood stolen for autographs and having his money stolen by his lawyer and being accused of sexually abusing his nurse and on and on and on, now armed gunmen are storming his house demanding money.
Can y'all leave Stan alone? He's
Good
old
God.
as fuck.
He's 95 years old. He made Spider-Man. Leave the man alone.
Hey, like, you are not resting in peace, sir.
Good God. I hope Stan leaves all of his money to DC. It's just like, and when he dies, all the money goes to DC. Make new comic books or make new movies that are better than the ones you did or something. Good God. Wow. Anyway, that'll do it for MSS News. Now, guys, thank you so much for all your contributions. We really appreciate them. And now we will move on to YouTube time. Satsu.
Before we move on, guys, we do appreciate all the stories, but if you got one that's just a video, try to find the written version, because we can't watch them while we do this.
Yeah, we can't stream it, and even if we could, there'd probably be copyright issues anyway. So yeah, if text stories, preferably if you can find them. Yeah. So Satsu, you already kind of talked about the video you did today, but anything else you want to talk about?
Obviously, the next 2 videos in the series that we're doing on 2 Cents Plus went up. We'll be streaming 7 Days to Die tonight, me and Monkey, on the single server, not the open server. And outside of that, like just as far as that story goes, it's troubling to me. Like, the reason that I talked about it is because, like, I know a lot of people growing up, and just people in general who knows, like, if they have the power and the authority to get over on a store, you know what I mean, or like a location, or they just know, like, you know, people are gonna have to start bending over backwards for me because of the color of my skin. They'll take full advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll walk into a place knowing that it's closed, or they'll sit in a place knowing that you're supposed to order in order to be there, and they'll just be like, well, you're doing it because I'm black. Like, straight up out of nowhere. Like, even if they know that's not the case, even if somebody else who looked differently got the same treatment, because they know, like, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. All I have to do is say it, and you have to, like, fucking either lose your job, or, you know, prostrate yourself to me, or your company's gonna have to do it. Either way it goes, I'm gonna get what I want. And it's kind of fucked up that is the state that we're in right now, because they did nothing wrong. They followed. They closed the damn store at the time it was supposed to close. I mean, what the fuck else could you have done in that situation? Now, one of the things I brought up is that due to the climate and the way that things are right now, it probably would have been in their best interest to say, look, we did just tell them that we closed and the light is off, but you're going to be the last customer or whatever. We're going to let you in. We can't let anybody in after you. But they probably weren't thinking, like, this lady's going to call us racist if we, follow our protocol. Which makes me feel bad for them, because the place is an inclusive, like, social justice haven. Like, that's the draw of the place. So those 2 people are probably, like, they're probably consider themselves, like, activist and the good ones, and now they're getting fired for being racist in a place where they thought that could never happen. It just sucks all around.
Yeah, I don't know what this lady's motivations, if she had any, were to walk into the store at that point, but that's beside the point. The company's just ridiculous. But
Yeah.
manufactured victimhood helps no one, because when it's found out, if it's found out to be fraudulent or found out to be a setup or whatever else, like I said the other night, it's just like Boyle cried wolf. All you're doing is diluting the actual incidents where people are being shitty to each other and do deserve to be called out on it, and just bringing up nothing but suspicion. Not that you shouldn't be skeptical anyway, but, when somebody says, oh, somebody pulled off my head wrap, or somebody sent me a text regarding a noose or something at this rally, and they sent it to themselves, that kind of thing. This is really frustrating. And to use, to use race or to start putting into the thoughts of others that someone is a racist. One of the most disgusting ideologies you can have in life or come across in life, and you use it as a cudgel to get attention, get your way, and all you're doing is victimizing an innocent person half the time.
Oh yeah, and one of the statements they put in there from Black Romeo said, and I commented on this one too, it said, admittedly, we have had issues with staff trying to enforce our closing hours too firmly without being sensitive to the fact that that person came out of their way to patron our business. And I'm like, wait a minute, how do you enforce the rules of a business too firmly?
That's
Here's the thing. This is closing time. These people want to go home. You ever work somewhere where there's a closing time and people just won't get the fuck out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to kick people. My first job, I worked at McDonald's when I was 18, and that was a constant thing. Like, get the fuck out. We have to close.
We need to get a fuck ton of white people to go to wherever she works and come to the place at the last minute.
She don't work.
Yeah, sorry.
I when I worked at the video store, like 15 minutes ahead of closing time, if there's anybody in the store, say, hey, everybody, because it was a relatively small store, you could hear it across the way. They say, hey, everybody, 15-minute warning. If you've got anything you'd like to rent, please bring it up to the front. We're going to be closing in 15 minutes. If somebody walked in 5 minutes ahead of time, I'd say, we're only open for the next 5 minutes. So if you know what you want to get, I'll get it for you right now. But if you don't, and then, but most, and we were a neighborhood store, so most people were, sympathetic, and they, did their business and took off. Rarely did I ever have to get firm with someone. But yeah, when it's closing time, it's closing time. And if you don't want it to be closing time, people who own the business, then extend your fucking hours.
Right.
Jesus Christ. And you'd fire people for the, God damn it.
Well, my question was, what would have happened if they would have stayed open much later? You know what I mean? If their issue, and also they said that they've had this problem before with people trying to enforce the laws too strictly, which means other people have been put out or not, offered entry or a chance to patron the business after hours. Like, this has happened before. They said they've had issues before. Now, the only thing I can assume is it hasn't gone viral and been on the news because they weren't black,
or the subject wasn't brought up in the incident or whatever. So
right. So I'm just like, what the fuck, man? It's so annoying. We saw this shit with the Starbucks thing. I don't know if you guys ever seen that video, but it was supposed to be a joke, but the dude really did it. He was like, I'm tired of these racist ass Starbucks or whatever. I'm about to go in here and get me some free coffee. And he walked in there and he was like, I hear y'all hate black people. Like, he just walked up to the counter and said that.
What?
And they like, no, not us. And he was
I never saw that.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, that's what I heard. I hear y'all hate black people. I think I deserve some free coffee.
Real quick, thank you, Incel Casanova. I identify as Kunta Kinte. Give me a cookie. Jesus Christ.
No,
your name is Toby.
And the girl at the counter, like, she gave him the free coffee, and she's like, hell yeah, I'll give you a free coffee. Like, I'm not racist. Like, I don't hate
Jesus.
And it was just like, and he walked out, and he didn't even drink it. He just gave it to somebody.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was Hotep Jesus. He had the video. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah,
he ended up on the news and shit over that.
And everybody thought it was hilarious. Like, that's so funny. I'm like, dude, that's I mean, it was funny because just ignorant, dumb shit can be funny.
Yeah, yes.
But
Jesus Christ.
Thank you, James Colley. Satsu, it's karma, plain and simple. I don't agree with those people getting fired, but working in an SJW haven, it's almost like living next to an active volcano. At some point, shit is going to happen. Yeah, but that shouldn't be the problem of the employee with doing what they were instructed to do as part of their job.
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is. Like,
yeah.
Karma is a thing, but ain't no telling what these people's history were. And they could have genuinely been like actual well-meaning people who just want the best for everybody, you know, because there are people like that who aren't like insufferable SJWs, but they do believe in like equality amongst people. I don't know that. I don't know these people. They never even mentioned their names. They just said they got fired, which super sucks, man.
Yeah. Monkey, I take it you did video games all day.
I played video games all day, and tonight I'll be playing video games with Satsu, as he mentioned.
So soon-ish after the show, you guys will be playing which now?
7 Days to Die. And I don't even remember what day we're on.
Is that open server, or is that just you?
No, this is just me and him to entertain the masses.
All right. Do you have any videos in the hopper, Monkey?
Dude, I'm not even going to. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
Let's see. Well, I wrote a script. I've got the audio. I just have to assemble it, really. So I should have it out tomorrow. It's a quick little video of a university dean of students or something talking about their diversity and inclusion program. And it was pretty boilerplate for like the first. It's only like the video itself is only like 3 or 4 minutes long, and so as I started watching it the other day, the first minute is it's so old hat to me at this point. It didn't even strike a chord because the language is so couched and vague as to what they're talking about. But it comes to a head maybe about a quarter of the way through the video. Did everybody go silent all of a sudden?
I'm here.
Okay, like the sound in my headphones, a little usual background noise, just kind of went completely dark.
I muted my mic.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I get cut off? Anyway, my ears are so sensitive. Anyway, so about a quarter of the way through the video, she brings up, she effectively says, and this is the part that gets kind of complicated because it's really difficult to let people know about their inherent biases, and that kind of thing. And then she says what her method is for introducing them to their biases. And I won't give away the twist. Well, I guess it's not a twist. I hadn't heard it before. It was a novel. It was a novel method that I guess isn't unexpected. All things considered, but I thought it was hilarious to think about it actually working in practice. But anyway, so she talks about this and her efforts to increase diversity at her college or whatever. And anyway, I'll have that out probably tomorrow. Another one that I'm looking at, I'm still kind of breaking down, is another TEDx talk, but this time it's a guy standing on a stage who, of course, is trying to be the good guy. By telling everyone that race really does matter. And I quote, "I'm proud of my race. I'm proud to be white."
I'm not proud to be white. I'm just white.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It's not an accomplishment. It really...
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the thought that came to my mind as he stood there like all smiley and everybody's like, everybody should be proud of their race. Like, why? Well, that's like being proud of my eyes being blue. It's like, oh yeah, it was a lot of hard work. Golly gee, to get those blue eyes.
If you're proud of your race, shouldn't you also be ashamed for everything your race has done wrong?
Well, Monkey, are you writing my script for me? What the hell, dude?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You want to collab on this? I'll send you the video. You can send me your thoughts and we can work them in.
Oh, I've actually had somebody ask me that before, and my answer gave them they were like baffled. I'm like, aren't you proud to be black? And I'm like, no. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't get pride from something that like it doesn't count as an accomplishment. Like, well, what does that entail? Like, what did I do to become black for me to be proud of it? I was just born. I guess I was proud to be born, but I can't even be that because that was out of my control too. So,
no, if
what do you want from me?
Yeah, if I'm proud of anything about my heritage, it's about the actions and sacrifices of my family members that came before me that led me to be in the condition that I am in and the opportunities I had available to me because of their efforts. It had nothing to do with them being one way or the other. It had everything to do with their the content of their character, as one might say.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, and anyway, it's a TEDx talk, so you know it's quality. So I'm going to be breaking that down. Depending on how things hash out this weekend with work and everything, I hope to have that out maybe early next week. I still have to finish watching it, though, to make sure that there's enough there to sink my teeth into, so to speak. So that's what's on the docket for me. Cool. Let's see. What else? Any other YouTube-ish news before we get into the internet fucker tree?
I don't know, but you guys should check out the new banner for my channel because I'm super proud of it.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to screen share that real quick, or safely share the image, I guess, without showing off your desktop full of hentai porn.
It's not hentai porn.
No, I know. Sure. It's not hentai porn. Just remember that, everybody. It's not hentai porn.
Where do you go to get iconed hentai porn that you can put on your desktop?
I don't know, but I assume you'd be the person to tell.
I feel like you have a skewed view of me.
Hey, I know only what you present.
That sounds more like a squishy thing.
Right.
Yeah, it could be. So yeah, any internet fuckery that we know going on right now? Somebody said that Andy Worski was having Lauren Southern on as a guest tonight or something.
Really? I didn't know that.
Somebody early on in the chat mentioned that. I don't know if that's significant at all, but it was the first internet thing that I'd heard today because I was busy at work. Let's see. Go ahead.
While I was watching or playing video games, I had streams and shit playing in the background. Jesus Christ. I am so sorry, guys.
Wow. Monkey.
Man. Anyway, I caught the Ralph report from last night, the kill stream that they do. Medicare was on there.
Okay.
They were talking about somebody, what's his name? Arab Andy.
If you say so. I don't know.
He's at I think it's a college. And he's doing that thing where you let your audience do super chats and you have a speaker that's playing it.
Oh, a text-to-speech deal.
Oh.
I can only imagine that went perfectly well.
Well, he's probably going to be charged with a bomb threat over it.
Oh, shit.
Because suddenly it starts this countdown and this beeping that gets faster and faster and faster, and you just see everybody run.
Oh, God.
So then the cops show up.
Is this live on the show?
Yeah. No, it wasn't live on last night's show, but this was a live stream.
Oh, okay. All right.
The cops show up and somebody starts playing "Fuck the Police."
Oh.
So you'll probably see some stuff about a YouTuber going to jail for a bomb threat soon.
That's fucking crazy.
Of all the stupid fucking things, like, jeez.
Yeah. I get it. It's so funny. It's not funny, guys. Don't do that stupid shit. What else did I see?
Just as a side real quick, I can't count how many times I've seen those Twitch fail or Twitch stream fail things where, you know, the advent of having a text-to-speech thing set up on your chat ends up in them getting kicked off of Twitch because somebody starts repeating a bunch of like hate crime shit and everything into the chat, and it starts being read out loud. And of course, the mods or the algorithm or whatever picks it up and kicks them off immediately. Just don't do it. Just understand the internet is the internet. You know, Coca-Cola did a thing where they had the app or the tweet thing where you send out a tweet and it turns it into an image or whatever, and people started tweeting out content from Mein Kampf, and it was turned into Coca-Cola ads. Just don't understand the internet is going to fuck you over if you do something like that.
Yeah, it's. I understand some people think that's funny, and I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah.
But because I'm not the one that's going to end up in jail over it.
Well, I mean, I could see it working if you had a screener. If you had something that like allowed someone to check a message before it was put into the queue to be read by the text-to-speech thing.
Yeah, but see that negates the whole purpose of doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, not necessarily. If you have like a call-in show kind of thing, and you're doing it that way, at least have somebody as a buffer kind of thing. I could see it working okay if you did it correctly. But yeah, other than that,
well, it would work, yes, but people wouldn't be that excited about it. Because
probably not, but it would save you the trouble of a lawsuit.
Oh yeah, well the thing is that
you get fucked in jail.
The thing that these people don't understand is like your audience, especially if you do shit like that, they don't give a fuck about what actually happens to you.
Yeah,
like they care about you to the extent that you make them laugh. But if you go to jail, they ain't fucking bailing you out. Like they're just like, you dumbass, you shouldn't have did that. You're going to prison. Thanks for the laugh though. Like, and that's it. They don't give a fuck about you. Just want to see you do something stupid and watch you get in trouble for it so they can watch the next person do something stupid and get in trouble for it. Jeez.
Do you have something else, Monkey, or did
I swear the Tariq Nasheed thing we talked about last
time.
Yeah,
the Buffalo Wild Wings.
What? Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. No, I was talking about him getting swatted.
Oh no, I was talking about him going at it with Buffalo Wild Wings. So somebody hacked Buffalo Wild Wings Twitter, and they were saying "fuck Tariq Nasheed, he's a coon" or some shit on the official Buffalo Wild Wings Twitter.
No, I was talking about he got swatted apparently. That shit came up. It was actually on the news and everything. Somebody mentioned it last night. He's blaming who was it he got into the argument with the other day? Ice Poseidon. He's not blaming Ice Poseidon himself, but Ice Poseidon's people, his fans. But yeah, I mean, look, dude, even if you hate Tariq Nasheed, swatting is a douche thing. People can get hurt. He has like a wife and a kid. Don't do that shit.
Well, we already saw one guy get killed because of it. And shit.
Well, here's the thing. Fuck Tariq Nasheed, but don't swat him, please.
Exactly.
Like,
I've never understood it. You got to be a hateful motherfucker. Because seriously, you can get a motherfucker killed that way.
Yeah, man, it is amazing, like how careless people are nowadays. Like, don't nobody give a fuck about consequences at all. Just like do whatever I want, and it's cool. I wonder if they're gonna did they find out who it was or anything?
No, as far as I know, not yet. I just saw him like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, Tariq's a dick. Everybody knows that, but come on. He's got his family in there, for fuck's sake. Yeah. His family's not responsible for him being an asshole.
And that's one thing he could always say, too. Like, you're a total, complete fucking asshole, race-baiting piece of shit, but he never swatted nobody. So.
Yeah. How you like that? Tariq Nasheed is better than you, asshole.
Good job.
Yeah, that was the only other thing I'd seen. And again, all of that, I watched Ralph's stream from last night and picked up all of that. Somebody asked if we'd seen. Oh, you got a super chat. Did you get that?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Chaos Eve. Like the stream, people, or dislike it, whatever. Thanks, Chaos Eve, for your support.
Yeah, just click one of them, damn it.
Those $2 ones, man. I hate. God, Google really. If somebody takes the time to donate money, give them a notification, just like everybody else. I want super chat equality.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a super chat equity activist. Okay, I'm gonna walk into a donut store and demand that super chats all have notifications, and that all the donuts need to be fired into my tummy. Okay,
the donuts.
Yeah, the donuts. Today was actually National Donut Day.
What's it?
I didn't get a donut.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts by my house. Shit.
Yeah, it was free donut day in a bunch of places and kind of things. And even Papa John's was including free donut holes with pizza orders.
What?
Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. How dare they make us side with Tariq?
Exactly.
Well,
Thank you.
It's one of those situations where it's like, I often am kind of chagrined that I have to end up defending Donald Trump of all people. But when someone's being done dirty, it doesn't matter whether they're a good guy or a bad guy. They're done dirty. You want somebody to, like I say, Schadenfreude should be legitimate. Or I should say, is only legitimate when someone falls on their own sword, when it is a consequence of their own actions that they get fucked over. If someone fucks over someone unfairly and unjustly or dangerously, like a swatting can be, that's not something to laugh at, and that's not something to rejoice in, even if the person who the target of it is someone you don't like. That's because it's one of those things where there, but for the grace of God, go they, or go you, because that's going to happen to you possibly. So what's funny about that? Yeah.
Yeah, the only exception I would make is for like a terrible shitty person, like if they like mutilate children and or some shit like that, then
No, I mean, if somebody's like a child molester or something, they get put in jail and they end up getting raped in jail. That's a consequence of their own actions. I don't particularly feel bad about that necessarily, but.
Oh no! I mean, like I said, even if somebody was to like fuck them up, I'd be like, dude, you need to be punished for what you did, but good shit.
Jenna P asked who Tariq is. Tariq Nasheed. Look him up on Twitter. He's a race baiting piece of shit who used to want to be a rapper. Wash your ass. Well known in circles of people who fuck around on Twitter.
And one thing I want to point out too, because I know you guys have heard me say this before, that even if somebody is truly horrible or whatever, you shouldn't. The difference between me saying you should still be punished, but good shit, is the fact that I still think that person should be punished. Like, have fun in jail. You did a horrible thing to a horrible person, and I don't feel bad for that person, but you're still going to prison. That's the difference. I'm not defending that person's actions. I'm just not mad at him.
Let's see. Any other internet fuckery going on that we know of?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay, let me click over on the Twitter real quick to make sure there's nothing that suddenly is blowing things up here. They talked about buffalo wings. God, I hate I didn't have these promoted ad things on my Twitter app before this update. I don't know. I get them all the time now. God, it's like, I don't care about, what's this? Keytruda. We have officially arrived in Chicago for AS. I don't give a fuck. You're on. Okay, it's a cancer medication. Great. I don't care. Thank you, Peter Hades. Hashtag $2 super chats matter. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, they do matter. Even if it was just $1, they all matter. All right. So do we? Oh yeah. So tell us about the Red Guard monkey.
The Red Guard was a group of college kids in China who, basically they were SJWs. They would target people they didn't like and just beat it. They were a little more what's the word? I fascist in nature, I guess, but that's not.
Is Squishy allergic to you, Satsu?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can never tell if she's sneezing or if her phone's ringing. Bless you, Squish. But to the person who asked, that they sound very much like SJWs. Militant, they.
Well, what was their agenda? What was their ultimate goal?
They were supporters of the Mao regime.
All right, so communism.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot to discuss about them without going into some serious history that I don't want to bore people with. But yeah, they were the same basic thing. They were Asian Antifa. No, well, kind of, Johnny, but not. they were a little more open about it because they had the full support of the Communist Party. So they did it out in the open, where Antifa at least hides their faces.
Yeah, but that tactic isn't unique to social justice and or Marxist and or communists or anything. I mean, anybody can employ that.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on how you go about it, but yeah.
Well, we've talked about it before. I mean, any of these things. I mean, it's the ideology. It's
yeah.
We talk about it being like a religion, and it kind of is, because religion is an ideology, and I know it's a belief system. It's the same thing. And they defend this stuff as fervently as possible. That's why we had a president who could go, but what about the Crusades, y'all? When you get into being that idealistic and you're part of the mob, yeah, all kinds of horrible shit can happen.
Yeah, you know, and I know I'm not probably the first person to say anything like this, but at least social justice and a lot of the things that I've heard them say or promote over the years now, especially doing these videos, it's religion minus the magisterium. You know,
Yeah.
there's no. I mean, you still have a belief in original sin, and original sin is usually straight white male. Oh, thank you, Incel Casanova. First the super chat, then the restraining order. Yeah, that might be the case, especially text to speech. But yeah, the original sin is privilege, white privilege, or just privilege in general. You have
invisible looming danger is the patriarchy, and
invisible biases or stuff like that. What else am I thinking of? Oh yeah, like patriarchy is Satan, effectively. You know, it's this overarching force that permeates into everything and controls everything. You know, the capitalist patriarchy. Racism is everywhere. I mean, it's on par, and racism is practically up there with just sin. Everybody's a racist. Everybody inherently has it, especially white people. They're the most racist of them all, and you can't
deal with that, Satsu.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
But I mean, then the insidious thing is, at least you know, anecdotally, let's just say, and I know I'm not alone in this, but it is, you know, from my own personal perspective, how I've seen people I've grown up with who, you know, used to be able to take a joke, or tell a joke, or just not take everything so seriously. Over the last just a few years, I've seen their rhetoric and their intolerance of anything outside the lines that has been set down for them creep in to their psyche and completely change the kind of person that I used to know them to be. Now, we all change as we grow up. I'm not saying that, you know, people don't change or that everything's static or anything, but there's a difference between sort of, you know, changing as a result of your life experiences and stuff like that, and then and demonizing other people because they say something that now you say is bad, whereas, you know, 5 years ago you would have been laughing along with it, and understanding that it's not meant to be taken seriously, or that it's not meant to offend or anything like that, or starting to act like a champion of the silent others that are out there that can't defend themselves, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's before they became enlightened and found Jesus. I mean, social justice.
Yeah, there was this happened a while back, and I'm not going to name names. Obviously, it was a Facebook thing. I was just kind of reading along, and a guy that I know who was always a little bit social justice-y, I suppose, if you want to call it that, but never someone who was like an asshole about it or anything, you know. He said something on Facebook about some topic of the day, and this guy's like the think of Boogie 2988, you know, just the nicest, most well-intentioned, harmless person on the planet, right? Okay, he said something about some topic of the day, and this other person came in, someone who I've known for like a decade or more, And she starts out her response to his statement with, and I'm almost quoting verbatim, "I know you didn't say it, but."
Oh, dear God.
And I shit you not, reading between the lines of a cookbook, she conjures up something. She conjures up something about him making some kind of sideways comment about women in general or whatever. He never said any of this. Okay. And she acknowledges that with her first sentence. And even though I am loath to start swooping in and risking being a white knight for somebody else, this was so patently insane. I had to come. I just felt compelled. And I came in and said, "You're holding him to account for something you made up. I just want to make sure that you understand that that's what's happened here." And she went into this tirade of just saying word salad to avoid it. And I'm just like, no. And after this like paragraph wall of text thing where she's just talking about like, oh, the implications of that, I come in and I say, quote him. Quote him. That's all I said. Just quote him. Where did he say it? And he's like, well, he didn't, but like, it's just like, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. If you're looking for sin amongst the words of those who are questionable in your mind, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to find secret messages in the pattern of the tie the guy's wearing on the news broadcast, I'm sure you'll find it. There are castles in the clouds if you look hard enough for them. But most times it's nonsense and it's all in your imagination. And that's really what scares me the most about some of the people that I've grown up with, that I see just demonizing others, holding other people to account in some kind of ideological purity test on the off chance they say something outside the line or that they then interpret to be. It's so creepy. It's just really creepy.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, it's super cultish. It's I don't know. I can't deal with those people, man. Can't deal with them.
Yeah, I know. It's and you know, and whenever I say that, of course, my second thought is, you know, boy, you sound like you're riding on a pretty high horse there, thinking that you're so morally. Well, I mean, no, seriously, you know, this is what I do reflexively. I have a certain level. I have a large level of self-doubt and self-introspection on things because, you know, I'm not infallible. I don't think I've got all the answers or anything. When something looks wrong and feels wrong to me, you know, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, usually I go that direction. But every time that it's like with these videos that I do, you know, half the time I'm repeating back what the person has said, not necessarily to mock, although that does happen, but because I am trying to understand. Because even if I disagree with it, or even if my initial reflex is to say this is nonsense, I just want to make sure that I'm not completely off base, you know?
Mm-hmm. I get you, yeah.
Yeah, because I never want to assume I'm right immediately. I don't want to have a level of certitude that precludes the possibility of my being in error, you know? And that's always something that I try, whether I like to or not, or whether I want to or not, I always try to keep that in mind when I'm doing this stuff. So when I'm reading stuff from people that I've known for a long time, I always have that little twinge of doubt. It's like, I know this person. They're not stupid. They're not completely oblivious of the world. I grew up with them practically. Is there something that they're doing or saying here? And am I missing something? And if after looking at it 4 or 5 times and double guessing myself and everything, I still can't find it, I go like, I don't see it. I don't see how you operate in the world, treating people like that or seeing people through that lens. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. A guy I know in middle school that paid kids to tackle me at lunch. Now he's a super left college professor who talks out of his ass about responsibility. Well, you could say that's kind of an improvement from, you know, paying mercenaries to try to hurt you. Anyway, sorry for the tirade. I just, you know, I was thinking about it the other day. I just, yeah, I was just remembering some things that I used to do with people that I know now if I broach the subject with them, I would be vilified for even bringing it up, kind of thing, you know?
You're talking to a dude who's been accused of being racist against white people and doesn't like cripples, who's a cripple white guy. So I feel you, dude. I really do.
Yeah.
This fucking world we live in now. Jesus.
Oh, I did see something on Facebook earlier. It was an article about this college campus. I can't remember which one, but they were talking about the kind of metrics that they go by to decide what comedians are allowed to come to the school and perform.
Yeah.
And Vice was actually the ones interviewing them. And you know, they were talking to these three people, and the one dude looked like just your typical SJW, like, you know, glasses, weird haircut dude, and the chick was she was trans or whatever, and then they had another lady who looked like every psychotic fucking English teacher in like third grade, skinny, white, paranoid looking lady. And he was asking them questions like, you know, so what kind of guidelines do you guys go by? And they're like, you know, we get our guidelines from the people who we talk to, i.e. the students, and they let us know like what are their triggers and the things that they don't want to hear, and we'll let them know like, here's a list of things that you aren't allowed to say, you aren't allowed to talk about, you aren't allowed to joke about, and if you have a problem with that, then go somewhere else, you know, basically. And he was asking them questions like, well, don't you think that kind of, you know, is a breach of, you know, their freedom of speech or anything like that? And she said, it's not really about their freedom of speech, because they could go around and say whatever they want, anywhere they want. We don't have to pay them to harm our students, essentially, is what they were going for. Yeah. So they were saying like, you know, it is what it is. It's our money. If we're going to pay you to show up, you need to make sure you have these guidelines. And it was like, well, have you ever had a candidate that you were like good with beforehand and then afterwards changed your mind? She was like, well, there was this one lady we had and we thought she was pretty good. And one of the students looked her up and saw this one clip of her saying something that we weren't a fan of. So we just told her, never mind. I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, guys, we're at the bottom of the hour, so it's your time. If you have questions, comments, complaints, conspiracy theories, stories of your own of struggle and strife, share them with us now in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of question marks afterwards so we know it's for us and not something going on in chat. But I did catch something from Black Romeo. Scribe Light, I recently heard a book reviewer say that vulnerability suppressed is oversensitivity. She said this about character flaws in books, but do you think it applies here in any way? Vulnerability suppressed is oversensitivity.
I don't understand what that means.
I'm not sure I do either. I'm trying to piece it out in my mind. So if I suppress my vulnerability, it becomes oversensitivity, or that it's a cloak for oversensitivity. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. You have to give me some more info on that. I'm not quite sure on that one, or send me a link to the article or something. Let's see. Rich at Art says, Scribe, did you guys see How to Train Your Dragon 3 on Twitter? I saw the ad for it. I liked the first one. I saw the first one in the theater in 3D. You know, I'm not usually one to see quote unquote kids movies, but you know, there's some movies I got taken to. I liked it all right.
Yeah, the original was actually one of my favorite animated movies for a while. And the second one was really good.
Yeah, my friend's little son loves Toothless. Like, because he's like 4 or 5 years old. But yeah, so I didn't see the second one. I haven't seen. I think there's some direct-to-video ones or a TV show or something.
I'm pretty sure there's a TV show.
There's an MMO called Blessed Online that pretty much stole that clip of like when Toothless was like nose diving or whatever, and he pulled back on him, so his wings come out. That exact scene is in the game.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's a different person and a different dragon, but almost like frame for frame, it's the exact same thing. And I was like, dude, really?
Ryan Rollins says, Scribe, do you think Satsu will collapse his base tonight? I think Satsu's base will collapse him tonight.
You know, that's probably more likely.
Yeah. Captain Brambles, the toilet at my work backed up today. Is it possible someone could have flushed a hamster? How dare you bring up Pebbles?
Pebbles.
Pebbles! I gotta find that eulogy. I gotta figure out like on the anniversary of that, I should read that eulogy again. If we're still
All I
doing this.
remember is that you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there the first night, no.
Oh, I wasn't there the first night you guys talked about it, but then somebody asked for me to write the eulogy for Pebbles afterwards, and so I had to write. Yeah, I wrote that. So, let's see. Let's talk about whatever thoughts on the new animated Spider-Man trailer. I haven't seen it.
Oh, the one where like there's not one Spider-Man anymore. There's like a community of Spider-Man.
Oh God, you know, I don't know. I don't know the trailer of the cartoon, but I know that storyline, or at least peripherally of it from the comic books. You know, when you start diluting the market, it really kind of takes away the specialness of certain things.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I mean, I'm just like, okay, well, so there's a bunch of y'all now. All right.
Hamster lives matter. Yes, Random American.
Pebbles.
Let's see. Trying to kill sometime says wed literally? I don't know. As I was typing it was my birthday. Greg stole my thunder. Then I had to go to work. I demand recompense. So my question is, do I get my song or do I have to challenge him to a duel? Oh, so maybe it was literally as he was typing it was his birthday. Okay. So trying to kill some time had his birthday yesterday, apparently. But Gregory Hurst stole his thunder.
Gregory, man.
Greg, you ain't shit.
We've talked about this.
You ain't shit. You should be ashamed of yourself.
So trying to kill some time wants some reparations, monkey.
I'm gonna call you Tryin for this part of it. Tryin, you out there? You listening to us right now? Are you ready for this? This one's for you, sexy. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to you.
To you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to you.
To you.
Happy birthday.
Satsu. There you go.
Happy birthday, dear
trying to kill some time.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. I hope you had a good one.
I see the surprise there is I kind of sang it straight that time.
Yo, I want that duel in HD 4K quality.
Let's see. Your boy Pat says Jamie Foxx as Spawn. Thoughts? We talked about that last night?
Yeah.
Last night before. I have no problem. Jamie Foxx is a good actor if he's directed well.
Right. Yeah. If Jamie, because look between Collateral and Amazing Spider-Man 2. So you got 2 completely different movies. Jamie Foxx was excellent in one and sucked in the other. It's because if he has good direction, he can be an excellent actor. Todd McFarlane as a director.
That's where I'm worried.
That's the wild card because, it's possible that Todd McFarlane could have sort of a George Lucas moment and knock it out of the park on his first try kind of thing, sort of, novice brilliance. But, and I just say but, and, and some might argue that McFarlane's even not that great of an artist to begin with, but that's debatable. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, Claxton Bayar says, Scribe, that was beautiful. Oh, thank you. Jenna P says, my dad, niece, uncle, and cousin have the same birthday date in July. Will you sing 4 times for each of them?
Wait, 4 times?
4 times for each of them?
4 times for each. That's 12 times. 1, 2, 3. That's 12 times. You want to sing 12 times?
Yeah, I'll be dead that day, so you guys might not be able to get a hold of me.
I mean, on the date in July that it is, we could sing a collective birthday to all of them, sure, if that's what you mean. But 4 times 4 is 12, and I don't think my vocal cords.
4 times 4 is 16.
Shut up. I'm an English major, not a math major. Damn it!
I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, shut up.
You know, mathematician.
That's right. I'm a mathematician. I make numbers disappear like
Right.
four
whole numbers.
I made the number 4 disappear out of the equation. Shush. Anyway. 4 songs. Stretch it out over the course of the show? Maybe you're gonna have to remind us. Okay, remind us on the day in July, and we'll see. Yes. I know. I suck at math. This is why I'm not an economist, amongst other things. Duck Dog says, "Scribe Light, you're no Charlie Epps." You're right. I don't even know who that is, but I'm not that person. But Backscan says, if you wanted to completely ruin a movie, who would you cast in the lead role? You're gonna have to tell me what movie we're talking about, because what might be a horrible choice in one movie could be an excellent choice in another. It just doesn't matter. It matters.
I would put Stephen Hawking in there.
Yeah, the dead one. Okay.
Yes, I feel
literally any movie.
Oh, BG says, well, you just proved you aren't part Asian. Thanks, BG. Yeah, it's on the recessive side of my gene pool. There you go.
BG be on point, man.
Sylvana says, Scribe Lady just killed me laughing, and WoW put me in the graveyard too far away. Well, does WoW still do that? Put you in the graveyard too far away?
Last time I played, they put in so many new graveyards, it wasn't as big a deal.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember when I played way back then, when you died and had to go find your body again, that was a fucking slog. I had to go halfway across the map one time just to get back to my body.
Yeah, I can do this.
Let's see. RJ Banzma says, are cults like social justice legal? Think social justice would be considered a crime in the future? No, social justice is an ideology. It's a thought. I hope social justice does not become a crime in and of itself, because that's thought policing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cults are not illegal in and of themselves either. I mean, the term cult can be applied to a lot of things. A lot of Christians think Mormonism is a cult still. So it all comes down to what are you doing? How are you affecting people? And is it positive or negative? Are you someone who advocates for diversity in college and doesn't really hurt anybody? Or are you branding your initials into a woman because now they're your sex slave? These are, there's a great distance between these two things, ideas and action.
One thing people need to remember, though, is like, no matter what you do or how much activism you engage in, whatever you're fighting against, you'll never win. Like, it'll never go away. It just won't be in the mainstream anymore. Like, people will still be practicing it. People will still be doing it. It'll just be to a much lesser extent, but it'll never go away. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, the elements of social justice today, and I know this is, I'm almost kind of contradicting what I said before, a little bit. If you listen, and you can find the stuff online, if you listen to some of the old preachings of Jim Jones, I'm bringing up Jim Jones in the stream other than the beginning, he talks about social justice. He talks about diversity of people and all this other stuff. There are a lot of elements that social justice would consider valuable insight being preached by an actual cult leader. That just means that these ideas aren't mutually exclusive to a social movement versus an insane cult. These are fundamental things and fundamental ideas that can get people on your side. If you're preaching equality as your sort of Trojan horse, you're going to gather a whole bunch of people to your side, because most rational, reasonable people want everyone to be treated fairly, the golden rule and everything else. It's when you attach things to that or conditions to it that then start wheedling their way into telling people that there are haves and have-nots, and some people have to be looked at as greater or lesser than others, but all in the name of equality. That's where you start getting into the danger zone. Danger zone!
I concur.
RJ Bandsman says, Scribe Light, I gave you a ton of Dr. Pepper. Can I call you Dr. Scribe now? Dr. Scribe. That
No.
almost sounds like either like a funk band name from like the 70s or a bad guy in a comic book.
He's gonna need 3 more cases, so until then, you call him Mr. Scribe.
Of course, my Sith name is Darth Scrivener, just so anybody wants to know, because Scrivener is also kind of like a scribe. Oh, and so I forget who said it, but somebody said something earlier about like monkeys horror movies, like Stairmaster the movie or something. There's a documentary coming up on Netflix on June 8th called The Staircase. Now, I know exactly what it's a documentary about a murder case and a murder mystery kind of thing in real life. There was already a documentary called The Staircase made about this exact same situation years ago. I don't know if this is a remake or something, because it seems weird that they would make, because they're saying it's a Netflix exclusive or whatever. And I'm like, did you buy the rights or did you remake the entire documentary? But when I saw that, I first thought of you.
Oh,
I was like, The Staircase. That should totally be a monkey horror movie. Dr. Scribe Light, he make you feel all right. Says Adam Manville. Yeah, he's the one that called it Dr. Feel Good. So Resident Scribe, says Academic Cub. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I see what you did there.
I see too. XGC Scrappy, Dr. Light. Dr. Light was for Mega Man. That's copyrighted. Can't use it. Sorry. Prospero says Bartleby Scribe, the Scrivener. Yes, something like that. I just like Scriven. Like when you try to think of Sith names, trying to come up with things that sound evil but are inherently benign. Scrivener sounds pretty good. Harvos Marvo Scribe Light, what character would you guys transplant into a different movie genre but still keep the spirit of the character, such as RoboCop and the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Oh my god.
You know, I always wanted to have them, and I guess they have done it before, but like, I guess maybe Blade Runner was sort of like this. You know, Mike Hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the very like old, hard-boiled detective novel, like out of the 40s, kind of Maltese Falcon kind of thing. If you took him and put him into a distant future sci-fi, you know, basically change nothing about the character. They kind of did this in The Long Goodbye, which had Elliot Gould in it. It was in I think it was 77, 79. Anyway, they took the character of Marlowe, detective, or like it was a PI. Shit, what's his first name? Anyway, he was a character from I think it was Chandler's detective novels from back in the 40s. And they basically just picked up the character, changed nothing about him at all, and his mannerisms, his language, or anything, and plopped him down in 1970s Los Angeles and just had him go through the motions of a story, like, I mean, a little bit anachronistically, but otherwise they didn't really make mention of it. And it was really good. So I think you can do that. It's not easy. And you have to sort of avoid making a big deal out of it. Like not do too much fish out of water stuff with it. You just have to sort of have this character exist in the world without comment. Otherwise, that's how you could make it work.
You know what? If SJW comic writers learned that rule, then their shit wouldn't be so fucking terrible.
Philip Marlowe. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Jesse, Devil Fruit, Zero Prospero, and Duck Dog. Yeah, right. Philip Marlowe. That's what it was. But if you can find a copy of the Long Goodbye. That's a great flick. That's a great slow burn, old, hard boiled detective story. That's a great movie.
I want to see the Hulk in the Notebook.
The Hulk in the Notebook. Yeah, Bruce Banner in the Notebook. Yeah, when they break up or whatever, and he gets mad, yeah, that'd be great. Let's see. Jim Hela says the Terminator in Mr. Mom.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Prospero says Stacy Keach. Yeah, Stacy Keach. I love Stacy Keach. Just about anything that he's done. I especially liked him in Mike Hammer when the show was not completely goofy, and it was kind of goofy because the real Mike Hammer, the character written in the books, would not be TV ready. He would not be on sort of like ABC show. But I like those old shows.
Oh wait, Sylvester Stallone and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, instead of Robin Williams.
Yeah,
that would be funny. That would be funny.
Could you imagine him trying to do a woman's voice?
Yes, because no, wait, I was thinking no, that was Patrick Swayze for a second. I was thinking of Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. I was trying to think, wasn't there a time where Sylvester Stallone did a woman thing? And I was like, no, he didn't do it in Tango and Cash. That was Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell did it there.
Yeah. Thank you, Cryptic. I got nothing today, so here's a can joke. You look just like my Chinese friend, Ugly. Thank you, Cryptic. And he can make me say those things because he's Asian, and I'm I'm purportedly part Asian. Stop or my mom will shoot. Wait, did I saw that once.
Long time ago.
Did Stallone do some kind of drag thing and Stop or my mom will shoot? I wouldn't be surprised, but.
Favorite Indiana Jones movie? Probably The Last Crusade.
Yeah, I mean, God.
I never saw the last one, so.
No, but Raider. Now you know what? Raiders is still so good.
Raiders is great.
It's so good. I mean, Last Crusade's excellent too. It's one of those things where, like, Temple of Doom of the actual trilogy, and I'm putting big walls around the actual trilogy. Fuck Crystal Skull, right out the window. Mm-hmm. The actual trilogy. It's odd that Raiders is so good. Temple of Doom, comparatively, is the weakest of the three. But then the third one is so good too. It's like, you basically forget that Temple of Doom exists. For as iconic as some of the things are in that movie, it is, I think, the weakest of the three films.
I would agree with you. I still like Temple of Doom. I think it's a good movie overall, but they kind of strayed from the formula, and at that time they didn't have a formula. So,
well, I think the biggest detriment of that movie, honestly, is Kate Capshaw. Billy is so fucking annoying. Or sorry, was that Kate Capshaw? Shit,
I can't remember her name, but yeah.
Anyway, the lead female, I think she became Steven Spielberg's wife or whatever. But anyway, she was so. I mean, like I understand she was constructed to be obnoxious, but she was. Like movie ruining obnoxious. At least what's her name in the first one, Ravenwood. She like drank guys under the table and was like a badass, even if she was vulnerable in places, because that's, you want to talk about a strong female character. That was a strong female character in a film because they established that she was a badass from the beginning, but they also made her vulnerable as a regular human being too in the romance scenes and everything. But then in Temple of Doom, it's like, go away. I hope you die. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. I assume you mean fuck Crystal Skull over a balcony. Yeah, in Monte Carlo in front of witnesses on video, yes.
To me, Temple of Doom almost seems like a short novel between the two. And what I mean is, a lot of times if you have an established literary character with a actual books, somebody will write a short story about like where they went somewhere out of the way. And that's how this comes off to me, because in the other two, you got him at the university, he goes off to find something. And this one, he just kind of drops in on it on accident.
Temple of Doom is a side quest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, except it's actually a prequel
to
Raiders, which is weird. But anyway,
it is a toss-up between Raiders and Last Crusade. I just think I like Last Crusade a little bit more.
RJ Bansma says, Scribe Light, are you related to Yoda? Can you do Yoda? I'd love to see all of your takes on Yoda. Much beer I sense in you. That's as close as I get to doing Yoda.
He's got that Frank Oz voice. Of course you can.
Frank Oz is supposed to be Kermit, which is Jim Henson.
What?
Kermit was done by Jim Henson, not Frank Oz.
I know.
Oh, okay. But you think I have a Frank Oz voice too?
You kind of sound like Frank Oz. Frank Oz is a cop in Trading Places. You can hear his actual voice.
Okay.
He's the one who pulls out the PCP. This is PCP. Do you know what this shit does to kids? I may have seen that movie one too many times.
I was about to say, Duck Dog says, short round is Data from Goonies. Yes. Yeah, that's... are those like his only two movies? Because I don't know. I know somebody's already done like Where Are They Now for Goonies and stuff, and like a Chunk is a entertainment lawyer in Los Angeles, and everything is like all svelte now.
Yeah, I want to say he was in another movie around that time, but I can't think of what.
I'm sure he might have been. I hope whatever he's doing now, he's doing well. RJ Banzo says Elvis Presley in Talladega Nights. You know, Elvis Presley and just about any cheese. You know, they don't have cheesy musical movies anymore, like as a franchise. You know, Disney movies aside, you know, like because it was always Elvis would always go somewhere and have to be like a singer and like sing a song and like romance some girl and always be just some different setting, but it'd be like the same movie and over again.
Oh, the kid who played Dana was in Encino Man.
Was he?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Encino Man in decades either, so.
He was in the show Head of the Class as well.
Was he?
Yeah.
No.
I don't remember it. He must have had like a guest role.
Maybe he was in the Billy Connolly era because I don't remember him being in the Howard Hessman era. Like Howard Hessman, like I loved Head of the Class. It's something I haven't talked about in a while. Head of the Class is great. I love it.
Yeah, it was.
It was sort of like the Welcome Back Kotter of its day, sort of.
He was in season 5, apparently. So yeah,
okay.
Well into the
probably Billy Connolly territory.
I love Billy Connolly. That dude's funny. Shit.
Oh yeah. Captain Bramble says Rosie O'Donnell as Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. I think she loses. Let's see. Hate Camel says the last cheesy song movie I can think of was John Waters' Cry Baby. Oh, with Johnny Depp. God. Oh, there have been cheesy song movies since then, but yeah, John Waters, man, that guy. Weird movies, not necessarily bad, but have to have a specific taste for those things.
Johnny Mnemonic was Keanu Reeves' best performance. Changed my mind. He's the same character in every movie.
I think Squishy made me watch that movie one time.
The only movie he's not the exact same character was the Bill and Ted franchise. Otherwise, he's exactly the same in all of his movies.
Point Break?
Still same. I mean, if you watch it, you could take a scene from any of his, let's call them dramatic roles, and interchange them, and he doesn't change. He lowers his voice when he's getting serious, and he stares off into the distance a lot. And yeah, I mean, I like Keanu, don't get me wrong, but yes, he's the same guy in every fucking movie.
Squishy got mad at me when I said that about Johnny Depp.
Adam Mangold said, would you guys ever do Boondock Saints on movies you should have watched? Nah, it's too well known. If you want to see something interesting though regarding Boondock Saints, there's a documentary called Overnight, and it's a behind the scenes thing of how that movie essentially got made. And you know, in retrospect, it's interesting. You can watch the Harvey Weinstein power play at work, because Boondock Saints was one of the scripts on the Blacklist, which is the list of the best screenplays as of yet unproduced in Hollywood at the time. And there's all this controversy around the guy who wrote and directed it, and the making of. And it's a really, really interesting train wreck of a story if you can find the documentary Overnight. So just a tip.
South Park ruined Boondock Saints for me.
Did they?
Yeah, they do a parody of it where there's a cop who goes undercover, and he goes undercover as a whore, and he he fucks everybody and then breaks out his gun. Freeze! And there's one scene where he goes to a frat house, and he comes out, and they don't actually show it, but he grabs a bag, and he bends over and puts the bag to his ass, and then you just hear him making noises. And then he's got a bag full of cum as evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, so when Willem Dafoe is all dressed, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
unfortunately, I saw the South Park episode before I saw.
Oh
Boondock Saints.
no! Oh, that's
So-
awful.
Willem Dafoe comes, I'm like, oh my god.
No,
Yeah.
Boondock Saints. You know,
It's a good movie, but
it is. You know, and I hadn't seen the South Park things. That doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, Boondock Saints was one of those sort of like out of nowhere, just little gems. You know, the more I found about its making and everything else, it became more interesting to me that how something so entertaining and interesting could come out of such a shit show. So it's almost like it's almost like, you know, both stories parallel to each other just make it even more interesting as an all around event. But oh, it's the top of the hour. Shit, I didn't even notice. Good God.
I love these nights. Last night we had we some slow times, and then we have nights like this where it's like, shit, we're done already.
I know. Good luck. Well, God, I can talk now. So surprised.
Duck Dog, real quick. That's Satsu.
Yeah, Satsu's got the loud mouse.
He's the loud one over there.
He's got the one that's basically a stapler whenever he hits the button on it.
Shut up.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As always, you guys are the best audience on YouTube, if not the internet entirely.
Anywhere.
Thank you, everyone who donated tonight. Your generosity is always very humbling and appreciate that. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Although, as with most nights, so far as I could tell, we have one of the also best behaved audiences in relative terms on the internet. Tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Monkey's channel. And shortly after this stream, over on 2 Cents Plus, you can watch Monkey and Satsu run around in 7 Days to Die and hope to see Monkey crash a bike and Satsu destroy his own home. Is that what it is? Is it Monkey that crashes bike, or is that Satsu?
No, Satsu crashes the bike. My bike is possessed.
Oh, yours is possessed by zombies?
I don't know what it is. It takes off on its own. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, otherwise, guys, again, thank you for joining us. Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me, as always.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, your lives make us sad. We will see you tomorrow night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.